That seems low. Whatever. What's happening, y'all? It's me, your resident supervillain, Mr. J. Washington, with another edition of the One-on-One with the Supervillain series here on the Patreon for the members of the Supervillain Squad. Thank y'all for watching these, rocking with me. And if I seem a little disoriented out the gate, let me let y'all know. The past week has been hella busy. Yesterday, I was in the ring. I took about a total of 14 shots with a metal garbage can, about 6 to 8 to my back, about 8 to 9 to the head. They didn't really hurt. My back is sore, but that's nonetheless, I'm sleepy. Woke up, had 3 self-tape auditions I had to do today and get in before a certain time. Then I had to do a Focus T25 workout, and I'm going to the gym later. I digress. That's not what we're here for. For those that remember the squads, for those who are members of the squad, those who are new to the squad, what this is I sit down with members who are at the tier. We sit down for about 30 to 45 minutes once a month to talk about what they want to talk about. And these started last year during the beginning of the panorama, which we're still fucking in. And you've watched the evolution of people's lives many different ways. And every conversation is different and unique. And I love doing them all. I really do. And this one I like talking to because he's become like a little brother in the sorts. I ain't never told his ass that, but I get it. And he's like that way, man. The homie from Miami, Mr. Red Constance. What happened, bro?
I'm that annoying ass little brother. Hey,
at least you know. You said it. I didn't.
I know. Hey, I know it is. The funny thing is, I'm the oldest out of everybody. Like my dad got like 5 kids on his side. And I've only met one of them, and I'm the oldest there. And on my mom's side, I'm like the oldest out of everybody. But my sister, yeah, she's crazy cousin.
What's good, man? What's good with life with you, man?
It's crazy. School's wrapped up, so I'm not subbing right now for the summer.
Okay.
And I'm right now I'm doing a lot of homework from home, and video work. So they've been like calling me to do some video stuff for like AAU hoops and all of that, and football and all that stuff for the summer. So been kind of busy the last 3 weeks.
But I mean, that's good. It's keeping you busy. You know what I'm saying? Because again, you could be at the point where, you know, some people like, yo, it's the summer, and I know a lot of teachers who be like, well, I don't have shit to do because some choose not to teach summer school, et cetera, or subbing or whatever the case, especially subs. So I get it, man. So the fact that you're able to stay busy and productive speaks volumes, bro. I'm just gonna be real with you.
My mom's a teacher. My sister's one. My mom just uses the summer to like binge watch whatever she wants to watch. Mm-hmm. So she's been binge watching Jane the Virgin, and she realizes that Jane is such a mess. And I'm like, you can watch whatever you want. I
love it when people find out the main character of the show ain't what they thought it was gonna be, and they like, oh, your life is a fucking wreck.
I was like, that show was on for 6 seasons. You see how much of a mess she is. And
that's the goal, though, to have a show that can run long. You know, when you have an idea of a show, when you have an idea of what you wanted to do and how you wanted to go. And again, to change from Jane the Virgin to, didn't she have a kid? Did she end up getting pregnant, having a kid? It was crazy. The name of the show was Jane the Virgin. And then she had a baby. I was like,
kids. She had kids.
Multiples.
Yeah, I mean, big up to her. Like, usually when your show gets syndication, that's that money that you getting when you like in the middle of France and ching ching, a check comes in the mail. You know, that's the type of shit I want.
I think everybody, you know, when you work in the industry, you want that type of money to happen because you want that residual income. You want that income you don't have to worry about. It just shows up. You know what I'm saying? You want that. I always said one of my goals in life was to get to the point where I could get a check and I don't have to rush to cash it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because like you get a paper check, because, you know, granted, everybody still don't do electronic. So you get a paper check, you like, shit, let me go home and throw this in the bank. I want to get to that point where I can have a check, it can sit up on the bulletin board, and I'm like, all right, the 90 days might be up. Let me go ahead and drop it in the bank then. You know what I'm saying? Something like that.
Exactly. I like picture those guys from Supernatural. Like that show went on for like 12 seasons or something like that.
15, bro.
15. They don't have to worry about getting another job anymore, honestly.
And the crazy part is you think that, right? Because they technically don't have to work another day in their lives. This is how much they love what they do. Because Jensen Ackles is Soldier Boy in season 3 of the Boys, and Jared Padalecki is playing Walker, Texas Ranger.
I saw that.
Jensen Ackles just announced that they doing the prequel to freaking Supernatural with the Winchester boys. But then Jared Padalecki was on Twitter, was like, man, it'd been nice if you niggas would have called me. I was like, oh.
They gonna keep on getting that money, man. That's what I'm
that 15 years, 15 seat, dog, there's a convention based solely on Supernatural.
Yeah, that shit's amazing, dog. I'm looking at that, I'm like, dog, like if I was ever like a showrunner and I would have a show that lasts 3 seasons, I'm happy. But 15 and you get a convention and your stars become big mega stars, like you gotta feel happy about that.
Well, the thing is also with 15 seasons, you know, again, that some people will continue to do that, but there are other people who feel like they don't want to be in that comfort zone, which I don't blame them. I truly don't. Like, again, there are actors who are like, yo, I want to do something else, which is fair. 15 years, like people have been waiting for you to say you want to do something else. It feels like.
Yeah, that's what they said about Robert Downey Jr. playing Iron Man. Like, you gotta understand, before he was Iron Man, he was always locked up and on some drug shit. You know, if you look at his IMDb, his resume is extensive, dog. Even before they getting locked up, like he has a long resume of a lot of accomplishments. And so, to his credit, yeah, you know, nobody thought it was going to work at first because even Paramount was like, we don't want to take a chance on him. They were like, he might go to jail again.
He might get drunk. Because again, you trying to do something with Tony Stark. This show, Tony Stark, you want to be able to go forward with him, and you don't know if this is going to work. Iron Man is a hit, and then you like, all right, well, let's see what happens. And then he good and gives you 11 years, nigga. Like, okay.
Like fucking 11 years is Iron Man. And then he's able to bow out and all of that. And look at his checks at the end of the shit. Niggas getting like $100 million just to appear at Endgame. And like,
but again, he's one of those people too. Because like I know a lot of people had these discussions about when actors or anybody start making what they would consider obscene amounts of money. But at the same time, it's like if you're able to do it, if you're being compensated for what you do, why wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If I can get $100 million to appear in a project, right, that it's been built off my back, to be quite honest, I've earned that right to have that money. Anybody wants that, you know. So when you hear people be like, I never understand this to everybody watching this squad. And I don't know if I've ever said it on Blurs. I never understand why people be like, oh, no one should have this much money. Now, I understand when you have unethical billionaires, right? Because there is a statement that says there's no such thing as an ethical billionaire. Like no billionaire has ever become a billionaire without fucking somebody over. I'm not talking billionaires. We're just talking general multimillionaires who've earned their money doing what they do. And then people are like, nobody should have that money. But I'm like, yo, if the situation was flipped, let's keep it a buck. If you got approached and said, yo, you getting 10 mil for this project, you gonna tell them no because you don't think somebody should have $10 million? You're gonna take the project.
I would take it. I'm gonna be like, all right, thank you so much. I'm gonna put that in the bag and use it for a vacation, something like in the future or something like that. It's just so weird. Like the ethical billionaires or millionaires, like who are they? Like I remember watching the Steve Jobs movie, both of them, and noticing how shitty Steve Jobs was.
Well, if you want to say ethical billionaires, people could use Mark Cuban as an example for what he did with his staff of the American Airlines Arena during the pandemic when they couldn't work. So that could be considered that. But you have people who are like, again, should billionaires pay their fair share of taxes? Absolutely. If I got to pay my fair share, everybody should pay theirs. Yeah. The one thing that is effed up, and I will consistently say this, is they put the best people around them to find out things like you're supposed to. And those things being legal loopholes. You know what I'm saying? When you can get away, it's not tax evasion. It's saying, if you say this, you don't have to do that. Then it's like, it's not their fault. You got to fault the system that was put in place. Like we as black people no, the system is fucked. Why you have people who get off and killing black people. We know the system. We know that's a horrible ass person, but the system is at fault because there's a lawyer who understands the rules. Like with the whole Derek Chauvin shit.
Oh yeah, I can't even talk about that situation like that. Like he's got in jail for like 22 years now, 22 and a half years.
He got 22. He's eligible for parole in 15. Now, a lot of people are like, yo, he should get life. And I'm like, I agree. We should have it where it's if you take a life, your life should be taken from you per se, whether it be incarcerated or not. But he was charged with sex. They couldn't because everybody was like, oh, they should charge him with first degree. I was like, you want him to walk? You want him to walk?
He'll I'm gonna say if it wasn't recorded, he would probably.
We all know that. Oh, everybody know that.
Because it took a video to convince him, and even that people were like, "Well, George Floyd was a blank time criminal." Blah blah blah.
Doesn't matter.
Black folk, they try to make black folks who are the victim in the crimes the suspect.
Well, because here's the problem, and this is, and especially when it comes to black people, it never fucking fails. Whenever a black person dies at the hands of the police or anybody on a racial situation, they go digging up the past, but the past has nothing to do with that moment. Yeah. Nothing. It'd be a different story if you're saying Derek Chauvin did this while George Floyd was in the act of whatever crime he committed back in the day. Then you could possibly use that argument, but it still doesn't justify being on a man's neck. Yeah, right? Doesn't justify it at all. But the fact is, whatever he's done in the past has no implication because you know why? No one knows that at that moment. You don't. If you get pulled over or whatever, what you did in 6th grade, they don't fucking know.
Yo, he skipped the line in 6th grade. That's the reason why he got shot.
You don't. Nobody knows that. Nobody knows until they go doing some digging into your personal history. Nobody knows anything about anybody's past because everybody always act like when somebody dies, they instantly know. Oh, well, they did this. You don't know anything. You just know what happened. Now again, with the George Floyd joint, because I think we talked about it on Blurs because there was a thing somebody put up the original post that the Minnesota Police Department, the Minneapolis Police Department had put out. And they literally put out a whole thing. They were fabricating everything. And everybody was like, if that video never came out, this is their statement. And he walks.
He walks. It's so funny about that, too, because I was watching Blind Spotting on Stars. You know, they made the movie into a...
Yeah, it turned into a TV series. I auditioned for it.
Which is great. It would have been so crazy you out here doing this in the bed.
It happens. You know, I'm blessed with the opportunities. I'm just waiting on God to say, this is yours.
Because both Rafael Casal and Daveed Diggs are both geniuses, honestly. But in the movie, in the show, Rafael Casal, spoiler alert, goes to jail for he goes to jail for drugs with intent to distribute. And they send his ass to jail for like 58 months and 5 years of probation. And I'm like, dog, the way they threw the book at him like he was a black man.
But that's the thing. They do that all black people because that's why a lot of people have been like, yo, while you, especially when it comes to certain drugs, when it comes to marijuana more than anything, because it's like we understand federally it's not legal. Everybody gets that, right?
Yeah,
we understand that. But depending on the state and the municipality, when you start legalizing it, you got to start bringing these cases back. Like, yo, it's legal now. So the fact, which was already absurd, like I said this to somebody yesterday. I was talking to one of my homeboys. We were headed to the show we were doing. I was like, the only reason any drug is illegal, cocaine, heroin, anything, marijuana, the reason any drug is illegal is because your government can't track it to tax it.
Exactly.
It's the only reason. It's not because of the effects it has on your body. Because listen, you got people who taking codeine. It is literally cocaine almost. If you can overdose on codeine, you can overdose on aspirin. Nigga, like
yeah. I was watching Snowfall. Like you gotta understand, they were moving so much cocaine into the hood, and then they turned into crack, and they did nothing about it until it started attacking the white folks. And killing white folks, and that's when they started going hard on it.
Need I remind you of the opioid crisis we have in America? That all of a sudden opioids was a big deal because you used a technical term instead of saying heroin and whatnot. And it's like, yo, this has been the thing since the 80s. But when it was affecting black and brown communities, you didn't care.
You didn't care.
But Tyler, who lives with a 2-parent household in a white suburbia and a picket fence, he all of a sudden ODs, and so does little Ashley, and so does little Jarvis. They all of a sudden OD, and now it's an issue. This is America. America, no matter what, has always been predicated on being for white men and upper hierarchy white families. Now, people always say money plays a factor. It does to an extent, because I'll always bring this up. If Oprah can get followed around Barney's, anybody can.
Exactly. Your girl, your homie Sam J, she did that episode about healthcare, and she's like, I want to make the money where I'm above all this shit. It's facts. Where, like, regardless of whoever is the president of the United States, like, I don't care. That doesn't bother me. Like, where my money means I can still do whatever the hell I want to do, you know? Where healthcare, I'm buying the healthcare companies. Like, that type of money.
Look, that's why again, it's crazy, because we're probably going to be locked down again.
You think so?
I think so.
Even with the vaccines?
Because of that variant, and a lot of people were getting vaccinated once and that was it, and thinking that was all they needed. They weren't doing, some people weren't doing the 2-shot one. When they were doing the 2-shot, they weren't going back for their 2nd shot. But that variant is starting to run rampant in some places. And because it's the summer and niggas want to try to trap, like, a lot of these countries don't have, they're a hotbed. Some places still ain't locked down. You know what I'm saying?
So locked down, honestly.
I say all that to say, when it comes to pharmaceutical companies, if Pfizer, Moderna, and all the rest, and even Johnson & Johnson, if they literally gave the formula, they could have, the world could be okay. But that's why India doesn't have it and is getting hit. Brazil is getting told off.
I heard.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why people try to invest. If you can invest in stocks, people be like, yo, I want to do Tesla, Apple, blah, blah, blah. If you get real money, you invest in pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah, I think it's like that with presidents too. Like, when a Republican president's in, you go for like the oil companies and all that, and the energy shit. When a Democratic president's in, you go for like the positive energies and whatever they support, because that's who their money's coming from, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, that's what I was gonna go to earlier when it comes to politicians, dog. It's literally, with politicians, it's literally everybody says what you need to hear to get elected, right? There are some who genuinely want to help their constituents. There are some who genuinely want to help the country, the world, whatever they represent. And I'm not just talking here in America.
Right.
There's genuinely want to do that. But there are those who have learned, once I get into this power, if I play this game right, I'm good.
Facts.
And so when people get mad because, people mad at Joe Biden, and then you get Republicans going, oh, I thought there were a lot of Joe Biden fans. And you got to remind them, nigga, nobody was a fan of him.
You're more anti-Trump.
We just went against Trump. Nobody was a fan of him.
Yeah, that's true. We had this guy. I went to the gas station in the area. The guy's like, how's it? He's like, masks been mandated, or masks have been removed from mandate since January 1st. We're in Trump country and all this shit. Look at this man like, fam, I just came here for Arizona tea and a Lunchable, fam. I'm not trying to hear this shit.
Bro, I was literally, man, I needed somebody to talk to about this. So I was coming, my homeboy, the homie, with my man 50 grand, him and his cousin was out in town from Pittsburgh, Ohio. Nigga, we coming back. We heading back from the show. My boy's BM, baby mama called him, and they talking about because she got the vaccine, and like her son has a little problem with a cold. The newborn might have a cold. Newborns are susceptible to catching colds quickly anyway, no matter the weather.
Easily, yeah.
So, dude, him and them were like, yo, it's no reason to take the vaccine. It's not proven and blah, 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 blah. They just trying to nano chip you. When I heard that, Nick, I just went into my phone because first of all, I hate when people keep being like, they're just trying to nano chip and control you, when you got to be like, what makes you so important?
They already got it, man.
They got you no matter what.
We have cell phones, yo.
You got a social security number. You have credit and debit cards. So like that's then what's in there saying the vaccines were rushed and weren't proven. And then when you try to tell them, yes, they have been proven. They were like, how? I tried to tell one dude, I was like, yo, you do know what COVID is, right? And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, it's the evolution of SARS. They were working on a SARS vaccine. So when they had a SARS vaccine, so when they understood what this was, all you had to do was start tailoring the vaccine you were working on.
Exactly.
You already had.
Exactly. I had a friend who's a conspiracy theorist, and all he does is talk about like, oh, don't take the vaccine or like all this extra stuff. And I'm like, bro, he said COVID's like the flu. You see all the people who like all the deaths from the flu or are low, and I'm like, bro, like my great aunt died. My mom had it, struggled with it. That clearly wasn't the flu. Like that was more.
Bro, people do that. That frustrates me so much. Sorry to cut you off.
Are you good, man? It's all good.
Because it's like the flu. Yeah, the flu 1 year killed like 50,000 people. Got it right. COVID killed 500,000.
Exactly.
In a year, in a year, in just this country, COVID killed 10 times that many amount of people. You cannot tell me it's the same thing.
Exactly. I told my mom, like, what was it to her? Because when she got it, I didn't get it, luckily. I think I'm asymptomatic. And she was like, it's a burning sensation on your nose. You lose all your senses. And it's just different for everybody. But she said she struggled with it. She's still feeling it today. She had it in February.
Yeah, there are some people who said they had it and they still got the like this. I heard a couple people said they still haven't gotten their sense of smell back.
Damn.
Because like they said, that's one of the ways you know you may have it. If you lose your sense of smell, like there's so many different ways. But they say if you lose your sense of smell and taste, you 9 times out of 10 have it. Yeah. If you lose the taste and smell, you got it pretty much.
Yeah.
But I remember when it first happened, it was this like, it was almost like an old wives' tale, bro. They said if you could hold your breath for 30 seconds to a minute, you know you good. I'm not gonna lie. I was in the crib every time I had a sniffle. I was
we like, oh shit, you got that shit. I think it cough. A little bit more than that, man.
Oh, you still can't cough around nobody, bro.
I was in the theater just a little bit ago, and like I had a cough. I had a persistent cough before COVID shit, so it's nothing like that. And niggas was looking at me weird, bro.
And it's funny, but that's the crazy part about it. Like the same people who would look at you are the ones who've acted like that. You, if somebody coughs and you, because you'll still people who know what's up, they'll still wear a mask regardless, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the people who you see quickly, who are quick to ditch a mask real fast, those are the ones who, if you cough, they finna look like, oh my God, are you gonna infect me? Like, yo, which way of thinking is it gonna be? Because you can't sit here and be like, oh, this isn't real, but now you're worried about catching it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man, put on the mask, man. I still have it. I still put on my mask still. Like I wore my little Rattler mask today to the movie theater. So
I wear my mask like. The only time I'm not really having a mask on is if I'm around people I know and I trust. Like I have to be around people I know have been, vaccinated. I'm gonna keep it a buck, have been responsible and things like that. And also, I got to make sure I take care of myself. Because again, my biggest thing is always now, not only for health implications, because of course that's number one, but with shit opening up to work, as far as acting goes and being on sets and potentially booking roles, I don't want to book a role and then I go get tested and they like, yo, you got COVID. Now I'm like, what?
And you shut down the whole set like you did Batman.
Well, no, they won't even let you, because the thing is you have to be tested before you go on set.
Oh, word.
You got to be tested. And a lot of them are so particular, bro, where so after you book the gig, you got to get tested, right? Your test results last 48 hours. If the day you got to appear on set is longer than 48 hours, you got to be tested again. Like, but again, that's how you try to make sure shit doesn't get shut down. Like what happened on the Mission Impossible set when the first time when it was two people standing close and Tom Cruise snapped and everybody's like, oh, why he snapping? He shouldn't be snapping at people like that. And he literally was like, I'm trying to have people keep their jobs. And then what happens? The set got to get shut down because somebody get COVID.
Yeah, that shit's terrible. Even what happened with Batman. Well, I think Pattinson had the COVID or some shit.
When Batman had COVID, nigga, the star of you got to now shoot other scenes. You got to really readjust your shooting schedule because now you got to shoot which is a bunch of other scenes, thankfully. But you got to shoot everything else that he is not in.
Yeah, exactly. Which is weird. Now that I know we got like a little workaround of it too. Like I wonder how it is for right now in Hollywood. How they're treating. How is it for you right now?
What do you mean?
Your acting gigs. Like how are they going so far? I know I caught y'all a little bit on Blurs. But like the white man got me working hard right now, man. So I can barely catch y'all.
Well, it's like I said. I mean. Things are starting to open up again. I mean, things are opened up. Not starting to. Things are opened up. It's productions are going where they're going. You know, they're trying to pick up speed and just pick up where they left off. It's just there's a lot of COVID protocols in place. That's the really big difference. It's just protocols. It's, you get the auditions. They letting you know, like a lot of auditions in the notes saying you're going to be tested. And some are even saying you must be vaccinated. Because, like, they're not playing. And so people are like, yo, how you going to make somebody get vaccinated? Because we want to protect. You can do it because it's a private thing and they can protect their environment. And I'm like, I don't blame them.
Yeah, exactly. I'll first thing, vaccinated, please. That's what I'll do.
Wait, what'd you say?
I'll be like, hey, please be vaccinated. Show us your card. All that. That's what I'll do if I was running like something that had a bunch of money towards it. The first thing I'll do is be like, yo, we testing everybody and we making sure everybody's vaccinated.
Bro, the thing about so I'm going back to work next weekend. I'm going back to work at the nightclub. And
you're gonna get the brolic shirt and tie look going.
No, they told us we ain't got to do that. We just got to wear black polos. I was like, word, thank God it's the summer in LA and I don't have to put on a tie, nigga. I can put on a dry fit polo and be good. So the thing is though, a lot of places are going, the signs they're putting up are you don't have to wear a mask if you're vaccinated, but there is no thing that says you must show proof. So what it is the honor system, which is terrible when we're talking about COVID. Because again, we want people to sit there and say, yeah, I'm vaccinated, or nah, I ain't vaccinated. You want them to be really honest with you. And people are going to say it just to be like, I ain't wearing a mask. So yeah, I'm vaccinated. And it's like, come on, fam.
True.
Like, I'm literally going to talk to my supervisor like, yo, we should get hazard pay because of what's happening. Like, we should get a bump in pay because we got to deal with drunk people, going to a nightclub, drunk people. And because of course you can't make them put a mask on in a nightclub. But then you don't know who coming in this door off of the honor system.
No, I'm vaccinated.
Because that's what it is. You say I'm vaccinated, then you just it's hands off. It's immediately hands off.
It'd be so funny. Niggas would be like, get your goddamn hands off of me, nigga. It'll be so funny though. Hey, speaking of that, have you been watching the finals or the NBA? Doesn't it suck about LeBron?
So what's
Doesn't it suck about LeBron this year?
It doesn't suck. It's interesting. I love it because I know people were gonna say that. I knew that's. I'm like, because this is the NBA's worst nightmare happening. Because for the several years, even with the bubble, the NBA Finals has always been about at least one team that you could just get completely behind, would have fanfare, pomp, and circumstance, et cetera, et cetera. Phoenix may be that team. I mean, Phoenix will have it a little bit with Chris Paul because this is his first NBA Finals, right?
Right.
Then you got DeAndre Ayton hitting that shot in game 2.
Big up the Bahamian first off.
Right. You got him hitting, 2 or 3, whatever game he hit it, but you got him hit in 3. You got him hitting that shot in 3, right? But then you get on the other side, because we know it's not for that, because we know the Clippers ain't finna do it. It's a wrap.
Oh, no.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap for them.
The Clippers are not finna win 3 straight. There's no way possible they're finna win 3 straight games.
I would say if the coach for the Suns was Doc Rivers, then maybe.
That would be a possibility. But then you go on the East, the best saving grace is Atlanta goes because Milwaukee is not a town. Yeah, you got Giannis, who's a former 2-time MVP. Yeah, you got Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, and in the season that sound like a team you like, yo, these boys out here balling. That sound like some good stuff you saying, right?
Yeah.
But when they get real, you're like, the finals are potentially in Milwaukee and Phoenix.
Oh Lord. I mean, Phoenix is a better seed than Milwaukee.
I know it is, but again, marquee headline wise,
yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It's the same thing for people watching this in the squad. It's the same thing if hypothetically Portland goes.
Yes, I really don't care for Portland, even though I love Dame Lillard.
Exactly. I know people love Dame, but again, it's that the cities. It sucks when you say this, but the cities with the high name values in the markets bring the most attention to again, it's a business. So again, you have a Los Angeles, a Miami,
New York,
a New York, whether it be Brooklyn or the Knicks. And Brooklyn make it just sound better.
Yeah, for real. It's just so crazy because you get no KD, you get no Steph, you get no LeBron. And your finals, like you said, may just be Milwaukee and Phoenix.
But also, what that does is if you're a person on the team, you're a person on a squad you feel like your squad don't get no respect. You feel like your team don't get any notoriety. You don't get a chance to get these high profile games, right? Now is your chance to show up and show out.
Yeah.
Like Devin Booker is doing what he needs to do. Devin Booker is like, yo, I got to show up. If I fall off in a game, I got to rebound back and I got to show up, right? Trae Young has to show up. Like you can have these games where you shut down a stadium, but now you need to get to the dance and the improvement in dance.
Yeah, I love that he embraced the villain with him.
He should have. But again, that's smart. That's somebody in his team like, yo, embrace this role. But now, not only do you embrace this role, you have to make it count. So if you're going to be the villain, you need to be the villain that, now I know why they hate me. You know what I'm saying? You need to be able to quiet them down at any moment. You know what I'm saying? Make the games close because you can't have that runaway ass whooping like what happened the other game.
Yeah, I mean, but Milwaukee lost the first game, so I knew they were going to come out come out hard the second game. So it depends on how Atlanta recovers in game 3. I think they'll come back, but for as good as Trae Young is on offense, that boy cannot play defense.
Hey man, two-way players are a rarity in this league. Let's just be real. Two-way players seem like a rarity in the NBA nowadays because you try to get somebody to play defense. A James Harden, for instance. Now, granted, he was hurt and shouldn't have been on the floor.
And but his hamstring was falling off the bone,
bro. Literally, what? But again, you get a James Harden, right? Who is not known for defense at all. He will let somebody with the ball go past him. You like, yo, you a scorer, which is dope, but you just can't be. I mean, defense should be an essential. This isn't like football where you have a specific just people who just play solely defense. Now, don't get me wrong, there's people in the NBA that you got them down. Look, you got them as all they are rebounders and shot blockers. That's all they are. Yeah. But man, at least be able to play some level of defense.
Harden plays some defense.
You see how you said that? Say it again with confidence.
Some defense. He's strong. He can play post defense.
He's strong. He's strong. He can play some defense,
but not many two guards are going to post you up unless they Jimmy Butler.
He had to prove he was worth all that talk he made.
I agree. And I mean, I want Atlanta to go far and win the finals only because we get more of Shannon Thornton and Taylor Rooks. Any of the women from Atlanta, because I love the ladies from Atlanta. First off,
I mean that's not a problem to say, but damn, that's the only reason for why you want them to go to the finals. Like,
I mean, I like Trae. I like Trae Young. I like Trae Young. I think Trae Young.
Just out of He was like, look, I don't give a about none of these playing.
Hey, more screen time for Taylor Rooks. Yeah.
I mean, again, at the end of the day, I'm gonna be one of the people that's gonna watch the finals regardless because it's the finals. And also another reason why I always watch the finals because the finals are on ABC, which are owned by Disney. Which every year they are going to drop you a trailer to a Marvel movie. It sounds fucked up for me to say, but it's the very truth.
Yes, and I needed you to talk. We need to talk about or I don't know about Mad Titan, but I want to talk.
I haven't done it. I meant to do it this week. I was gonna record it, but I was like, bro, after my body was hurt and then nonstop auditions and everything. I was like, I don't have time. I got to get it out though, because I mean, again, I know everybody be thinking like I don't care about it. It's like I want to. It's just hard.
You're working, man. Look, Shang-Chi looks great.
That new trailer, the official trailer they showed you, bro. Yes. They say that's the Great Protector, but I was like, please God, tell me that's Fin Fang Foom. Because what I heard,
Fin Fang Foom.
They say it's supposed to be just because the Funko says the Great Protector, and Simu Liu was like supposedly that he's not in it, but I was like, the lair they were building, they said was supposed to be Fin Fang Foom, because that's all I want out of this. I want a giant alien talking dragon.
Dog, I want it so bad. Like, you gotta understand, like I love like the martial arts version of Marvel. Like for as much as it sucked, I love Iron Fist. Some parts of Iron Fist
could have been so much better.
Scott Buck. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, the showrunner for Inhumans speaks volumes.
Scott Buck. And not only that, he got Inhumans and he had Iron Fist.
No, I'm saying they gave him Iron Fist after he had Inhumans. Exactly. That's why I was like, if you wonder why Inhumans went so bad, I mean, why Iron Fist was so bad, he was the one from behind Inhumans. He was the one who sat there and said, we don't have enough money in the visual effects budget to have both the teleporting dog and Medusa's hair. So in episode 1, we're going to cut her hair, which makes her pointless.
Oh my gosh.
It makes her.
You had Kung Lung, right? You never gave us a fucking dragon in Iron Fist. They went into a cave and there were red eyes.
Some eyes, and that was it.
Red eyes. That was all you got. Oh my gosh.
That's why I think, again, that's why Shang-Chi is gonna give us a dragon, because they're like, you've been teased it and you didn't get it. You are going to get an actual dragon. And I'm like, give me the dragon. I want that. The fact that the 10 rings are the martial arts break, I love it because what it did, it separated from the gauntlet. Because now you have all the powerful shit. The gauntlet is one thing. Because again, people be like, oh, because there's 2 gauntlets we all know of if you read the comics. Yeah. But again, with the 10 rings, having them be the rings that go on the wrist, dope. Right?
Yeah, that shit looks incredible, dog. That Eternals looks amazing. I can't wait.
That's the either we gonna get that trailer or Spider-Man No Way Home during the finals. We getting one of them 2 trailers.
I can't wait for either or. Spider-Man, I'm waiting for anything. We keep on getting whispers about Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm hearing it's gonna be, what's the guy's name? Will Dafoe?
Well, that's been a rumor again, but it makes no sense. It makes no sense in the grand scheme of things to have him be the main villain. It makes no sense because you're building off of his universe. So they've already established that the Spider-Man villains happen. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So in Spider-Man Homecoming, you got the Vulture.
Oh, the Vulture.
Right? The Vulture. In Spider-Man Far From Home, you got Mysterio. Don't be surprised you get the Lizard or something, one of his top tier, because again, what they're going to do is you're going to get the Sinister Six through this movie. It's going to be a hodgepodge Sinister Six, and then they're going to probably build the actual Sinister Six through the Sony Spider-Verse.
Well, I wanted them to do Kraven. I wanted Kraven to be the guy in this Spider-Man, but they're not doing that. They got their own Kraven movie coming out,
but again, supposedly. So the rumor is Marvel and Sony have finally figured out how to come to a deal and make it where the MCU will cross into the Sonyverse. Now, it's not going to be backwards because you needed Spider-Man to go over, right?
Yeah.
So now Craven can show up potentially in that movie, which makes sense as to why they announced him. So when if he shows up in some little glimpse or whatever in Far From Home, post-credit scene, whatever, you know what it is. I was like, man, I hated that Sony grabbed it because I would have wanted Craven to be the dude. In Black Panther 2, this is before Chadwick Boseman passed, rest in peace. I would have loved to have Craven want to hunt the Black Panther.
Yeah, it would have been ill. And I wanted him to be Wakandan too, surprisingly. I wanted Craven to be Wakandan, and I wanted him to hunt the Black Panther.
I mean, you could have. I think people, we already, no matter what you do, no matter how you change stuff, because I think people forget every time you have to change some things for certain comics to make them palpable on the screen. Like the whole big discussion of Magneto, and like
that's gonna be weird.
Because here's the thing. Again, my biggest thing, I've always said this, like, you got to look at the MCU's timeline. The MCU, when Magneto and the X-Men, whatever, how they introduced, when that happens, that man should be 90-something years old.
130 years old out here.
It doesn't make sense in the grand scheme of things for somebody who's going to be one of the greatest adversaries ever of just the X-Men and just the Marvel world, one of the greatest anti-heroes or villains, however you look at them, to be an elderly man.
Right. I want him in his prime, yo.
It's no disrespect to any of my Jewish viewers here in the squad. I'm just looking at the time. Again, I understand the significance of saying we have a Holocaust survivor. I understand that. The problem is because of, we're moving forward in time. The Holocaust was like 38 to 41 within that range.
Right.
And so 2025 in the Marvel, because we're already in 2025 in the Marvel years.
Right.
And the MCU is 2025. So them will be 2027 or something like that. Do you want to say, oh man, why they got to use an old Jewish person to beat up? Because you run into this strange caveat. I think because there has to be another openly known, if you're going to do a Jewish survivor, there has to be another openly known Jewish genocidal event to continue that. Because no matter what, Magneto has to come from a genocidal event.
Yeah.
Because that, granted the Holocaust is a specific thing, but it's a genocidal event. You know what I'm saying? It was almost the elimination of his race. So whatever event you use, it has to be genocidal. It can't be just, this is a small travesty or tragedy. You just can't do that. It's got to be like, they almost wiped this entire race off the planet, dog.
That's for y'all use like the example like what happened like Darfur or something like that, or
people been saying the Rwandan genocide.
Yeah,
I mean, again, the problem with, because people keep bringing up now the current Israeli-Palestine conflict. That is too a tricky subject to even touch in any regards. Because I've heard some people like they could do that. And I'm like, that is too touchy of a subject for people on both sides. So no matter where you go with that one, somebody's going to be wrong. And you don't want to be wrong where it's going to affect your box office at the end of the day. No matter what side they play it.
With Russia and China, you don't want to mess with that box. Like that. That's like 60% of their money, like Russia and China. You don't want to get
China. I've never heard them really counting on Russian money. I just know China is that box office where because again, that's how everybody keeps saying Birds of Prey was a bomb. I was like, yo, Birds of Prey was the last DC movie to come out that didn't get a chance to hit the box office in China. I'm like, yo, y'all got to chill.
And it was a DC movie. I like Birds of Prey. I like Birds of Prey.
I did too. I didn't have a problem with it. You know what I'm saying?
They had a stretch of movies that were good at DC.
Well, here's the thing. People keep being, I'm sorry to cut you off, bro. People keep being like, how you going to have a movie in Gotham with no Batman? I'm like, yo, don't do that. Don't do that.
The city.
The city. You're telling me he has to be everywhere in a fucking city?
I agree.
Man. Don't do that.
I thought it was good. I liked Shazam too.
I rewatch Shazam regularly. I'm not going to even lie. I rewatch Shazam regularly. But listen, we got to get ready to wrap this up and get up out of here. Tell the people, huh?
Yeah, we get my brother-in-law is making some chicken sauce, man. So yeah, we got to wrap this up.
People, how to fucking find you? Lord have mercy.
That's the South thing.
Tell the people how to find you.
RJC Lifestyle, Twitter, Instagram, RJC Vids, my website. I put up some new stuff on there. I do some producing. You know, I'm out here. I do a lot of stuff, but y'all got to book me ahead of time.
Look, go ahead. If you want to connect somebody with somebody doing some things and you guys want to try to workshop any way it goes, that's one of the things I also want to do. I want to continually do with the Supervillain Squad is to connect people. People do different things and may need somebody's services somewhere, need something. And so I want to be that conduit if I'm able to help connect y'all. Y'all already know how to find me, Twitter, Instagram, all them other places, Blurs, et cetera, et cetera. Holla at y'all later, man, for the next one. If I got one more in June and then we got the July series. Thank you guys for rocking with me. I'm out. Take care. Don't go nowhere. Nah.